Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome from Dubai for the opening of our Scaleup Summit that this year is focused on the MENA region. And so today we are digitally in Dubai, hosted by the Dubai Chamber and Dubai Future Foundation. And I'm Alberto Onetti, Chairman and President of MindBridge. Just a couple of words about MindBridge. We are in an innovation advisory boutique. We are working in intersection between corporates and startups since 2007. And substantially, we support large corporations in feeding their innovation hunger. Substantially, we work on different areas. From advisory, we support them in defining what are the best initiatives to launch or how to reshape them in order to make them always up to date, because open innovation is a very, very evolving topic, and so models change over the time. We support them in scouting internationally and globally, and that's the reason why today we are here in the MENA region. That is a group of 19 countries that are producing more and more interesting mature solutions in terms of innovation. And then we support them in research. And then as you see today, we also announce our latest research product. Just to give you a glance of MindBridge, if you can move to the next slide, you can see we have innovation in our DNA. We come from the startup world. By choice, we are vertical industry agnostic because today technologies are transversal rather than vertical. We have headquarters in Silicon Valley, but presence in Europe and the rest of the world. And we have an international network. You can see from the next picture, we spread from California, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. We opened at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic our brand new office in South Korea. That is an emerging ecosystem. We have a strong footprint in Europe, scattered between Italy, Germany, Spain, and the UK. And we have a presence through partners in the Middle East. And for this reason, I would like to welcome on stage with me our partner in the Middle East, that is Neda Al-Damami. That is the founder and CEO of Brilliant Labs. Hi, Neda.
Hi, Alberto. How are you? How's everything?
Everything looks great, given the circumstances, as you're used to say. So I would like just to give you the stage for a short period of time to, first of all, to provide you with what is your immediate view in terms of what is happening from the Gulf area up to the Middle East, and then to explain what you guys do and what we do together in the region.
Sure. At the beginning, thank you so much for this opportunity. We're really happy, co-organizing the MENA Virgin with MindBridge. This relationship, it's been over almost a decade now, 9 years. We really appreciate all the efforts that MindBridge trying to bring to the region. Finally, there is a spot, there is an entity that specialized on talking and bringing innovation to the region. Still, the region absolutely missing a big chunk and a big gap in terms of understanding what is innovation and the meaning of innovation. People still in our region need to understand that the cost of innovation is actually less than the cost of developing the entire organization. So yes, innovation has a cost, but it's better to have it now than that accepting 10 times cost in the future of your company.
Yes, because the cost of not having innovation, Neda, is not to survive as a company. So I think the upside is totally negative. Yes.
And this kind of event, Alberto, it really helped the big organization, help them understand the only way to grow, not only in the MENA region, it's in the entire world, especially after the that what happens with the Corona and COVID 19, 20, all the pandemic happening here, it actually gave us one message, that the only moving forwards elements is to apply innovation to your company or to your organization. So this is something crucial. This is something we can't just look at it for the next 10 years. We have to apply it to our organization. We have to apply it to all the economy in the region here, especially in the MENA region. If the MENA region want to have a good spot in the world, they can't do this without applying innovation to their product, to their mindset, to their basically businesses, and to grow their businesses.
That's perfect. And thank you, Neda, for the collaboration, really the partnership.
I'm looking forward for the rest of the entire summit. And I'm also looking forward for the great reports that we're basically trying to work together. And I can't wait to see the final result of all of these efforts, Alberto. Thank you, and thanks the entire team of Mind the Bridge of trying to bring all of this together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's go and deep dive on what we are up to today. As mentioned, we are bringing our format to the MENA region. As said, as Mind the Bridge, we are, let's say, a channel open to the world of open innovation through our constant and recurring dialogue with large corporations. You can see our Mind the Chat format that is been running since over 2 years now, when we have this continued conversation with innovation leaders across the globe. Because the only way to understand how to move forward is to understand what the leaders are doing, what is working and what is not working. That is most in the case is the situation. And so that's the situation. And we have a format that is called Scaleup Summit. This format is our way to bring international corporates to look at scale-ups that are the most mature results of innovation in different regions. And you see the program for 2021 starts from MENA. MENA, as you see, is the first step in our journey of innovation journey, and it's something that is starting today. Actually, started last Thursday with the first of our deep dive conversation. We'll mention a bit later, and then we will have 2 additional stops in Europe, one at the end of May and one in December. And then we will move to South Korea, that, as mentioned, is another booming ecosystem, and to Silicon Valley mid-September. So this is our program of Scaleup Summit of the year. And just to mention, the Scaleup Summit is a format that we use for putting a specific scouting region on the spot, and try to open a dialogue and a conversation that is conducive to business meeting with international corporates. And focusing on the first Scaleup Summit of the year, that is focused on MENA, you can see we have, and we enjoy the partnership of some partners that decided to join in our journey. The first one is ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, that is our partner not just for the Scaleup Summit, but also for the Corporate Startup Stars that we will mention a bit later. And for this specific summit, we got the support, and we are really, really pleased about that, by the United Nations ESCWA. And then we will discuss a bit more a bit later when we're presenting our next research report, and by the Dubai Chamber of Commerce and Industry that decided to institutionally support our first summit in the region. And technically, that's why today we are digitally in Dubai. And again, you see also the logo of the Center of Entrepreneurship. That is the format that ICC is using across the globe for promoting innovation and entrepreneurship in emerging ecosystem. And specifically in the region, they just opened last year the first center in Beirut together with UNESCWA. And this is the first of a series of multiple openings that are planned across the year. But we will have John Denton in a bit, and we can definitely discuss and deep dive a bit more. But let's focus on what is up in terms of program, what is a Scaleup Summit, what does it mean for MENA. So as you see, is a combination of multiple activities. In the old glory days when people can move and travel, we will typically meet for 2 days, very too dense, 2 days in a specific city, in a specific place for fostering this relationship. In the new digital world, we decided it makes no sense to concentrate activity. Actually, it's a way better to scatter them across a longer period of time, also to allow that people can definitely digest and don't be chained to a screen for multiple hours in a row. And so typically a summit as an opening, as that one that we are having today, and technically today we are in Dubai, as mentioned, with the support of the Dubai Chamber and the Dubai Future Foundation. And from this summit, we also will have an opening that will be in Beirut on April the 8th, with the support of the ICC Center of Entrepreneurship and UNESCWA. And then among these today and April 8th, we will do, first of all, the core of the Scaleup Summit, that is the one-to-one matching session. Again, the goal of the summit is to introduce local scale-ups to international corporates, with the goal of fostering business collaboration that may be conductive to a strategic partnership. Typically, it starts with a POC or proof of concepts, and afterward, eventually, potentially also to investment and acquisition. So this is the core, and so we will bring a group of corporates from Europe to look at the innovation opportunities in the area, and this corporate will be presented later today. And then we'll have also what is called the Open Innovation Bootcamp, meaning that is a format when we bring, if you can move to the next slide, is a format when we bring our corporate partners and other international corporates to meet the innovation leaders of the region. And you can see we will have some relevant local company like Emirates, Zain, and Agility to present what they are doing, their best practice, and to share with other innovation leaders internationally. So this is the Open Innovation Bootcamp format. And this is something that will happen next Monday on the 29th. It will be closed door session in order to foster as much as possible best practice sharings without any potential restriction given to the fact that we might share what is they're really doing without the need to take care to what is the PR and the innovation theater. So it will be a very, very strong and intimate dialogue. Then we have another format, because we need to help international to understand what are the specifics of the session. And that is why we are organizing a series of dedicated minded chat with innovation leaders of the region. We started last Thursday presenting Dubai 20 Expo Dubai 2020 with Tal Ansari, and then we'll continue tomorrow with the Agility CVC, and then we will have the opportunity to discuss with Emirates and the phenomenal accelerator that's been launched in Dubai, and then we have the opportunity to speak with Roberto Croci, that is the Middle East person in charge for Microsoft. Then we have the opportunity to deep dive with the Lebanon ecosystem, with Masoud Shamaf, and then many other discussions. There will be minded chats that are focused on the region, also to help understand what are the specificities of the region. And then the final program will be completed, as mentioned, with the one-to-one matching part that is the most important and relevant. But without for any further ado, let's look at what is the agenda for the 2 hours that we'll spend together. As mentioned before, this our introduction session. We will have, first of all, to open officially what is the Corporate Startup Stars Award for 2021 initiative. This is what we will do, and then we will have the pleasure to having with me John Denton from ICC, the Secretary General, and then the winner of Corporate Startup Stars Awards 2020, Neale from Mastercard. Then afterward, we will announce the research that we have been producing for deep diving the innovation in the region. And we have a phenomenal partner here that is ESCWA. And then we have the pleasure to have with us the executive director of ESCWA, Kareem Hassan. Then, about 20 minutes past noon, we will have a conversation with Faisal Al-Awi, that is the head of accelerators and incubators, Dubai Future Foundation. Dubai Future Foundation is an incredible initiative in Dubai that is what has been defined the backbone of innovation in Dubai. So we'll definitely have a better understanding of what is happening in Dubai and what is also the role of the government in promoting innovation and promoting Dubai as an international hub. And then we will end the session introducing the corporates that internationally are digitally traveling to the region to explore in innovation. And you can see the logos of ENI, CNH Industrial, Acea, Terna, Acciona, and Unipo, that are some of the corporates that are taking the opportunity to do a deep dive into the region. But following the order, and perfectly on time, I would like, first of all, to bring the big piece of news. As you know, Mind the Bridge, since, if I can remember, 5 years from now, has been decided to try to understand what are the best practice in open innovation. As you know, open innovation is an evolving beast. It's something that is becoming very hot, very trending, as all the hot and trendy things are difficult to be grasped. And so it's really important going beyond the buzzwords and try to understand what is happening in the open innovation. And the only way to understand what is happening is to analyze what are the best corporates are up to, what they are doing, and from what they are doing, what is working and what is not properly working. And so we have a model that we have put together over the past few years, as you can see from this image, that show how we try to analyze the corporates and specifically what the corporates are doing, talking about open innovation. And particularly we look at two areas. The first one is the actions that they are taking, the initiative that have been launched, ranging from entrepreneurship program, venture builder, accelerators, investment to also dedicated vehicle like CVC, procurement, partnership, POC, acquisition. So the action, what you see on the x-axis. But there is also another axis. There is another perspective to look at how innovation is structured, how innovation is organized. And this is the strategy, organization, culture, process that corporates have or do not have in order to achieve. And you see what we call the corporate startup stars are corporates that are able to combine strategy, organization, process, and culture with action that are conductive of results. So that's how we categorize corporates, how we analyze them. And before asking to join me on stage, John Denton, that is the Secretary General of ICC and our partner in that, I would like to show you what we have done last year. Because last year has been the fifth edition of Corporate Startup Stars. For the first time, we have decided to go globally to the partnership with ICC, and thanks to their support. And we've launched this initiative to understand what are the corporate leaders in the world and what are the ones that are doing this better than others. And we have completed the last year process in December in Paris through probably the first digital black tie award ceremony in the world. And in this short video, you will see what happened.
Good evening from San Francisco, California.
Hi Marco, hi everybody, and welcome to Europe.
We couldn't be more humbled to host such a global celebration of the best in class.
Hey guys, how are you? We want these next levels of entrepreneurs to be the next generation of business people, and we want them to find their home with the ICC as they look for their new opportunities in the world.
I'm really happy to have the opportunity to take the floor in front of you today and to open that Corporate Startup Stars Award today. We have to lay the emphasis on the example of success in the collaboration and the cooperation between the big corporates and the startups.
Hello everybody, hello world. We have a global jury that really represents excellence and diversity.
So we decided to ask some heads of innovation of some of the larger corporates to help us encapsulate the full meaning of open innovation.
Building something new together with a shared purpose.
Motto for our company is invented for life.
For me, open innovation is outside-in thinking, collaboration, and win-win outcomes.
We have different categories that we use to categorize open innovation, and we will use tonight to award the most interesting companies.
All I can say is these mid-cap stars are going to be all in the FTSE and the Fortune 500 very soon because they're doing such great work in innovation.
Let's start on what we call the 25 Open Innovation Challengers.
And now we are going to see what are the 2020 corporate startup stars. Now, the top 3.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to everybody. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next year.
Here we go back, and we said in December we see you next year, and among us was John Denton, Secretary General of International Chamber of Commerce, and John, as said, see you in the new year. Hi, John.
And a big Happy New Year to you, Alberto. It's great to be with you, and it's great to see the product of what we did together at the first big black tie event on a global basis by video link, Zoom, Cisco, WebEx, whatever people were using, but it was an amazing event. So thanks very much. It's a great opportunity for me to actually chat a little bit about what we're doing together. So we are, together with Mind the Bridge, working together to strengthen and stimulate entrepreneurship across the globe. Why are we doing that in the MENA region? Let's have a look at MENA. 60% of the population in MENA is actually under the age of 25 years of age, making MENA one of the most youthful regions in the world. However, every second unemployed person you will meet in MENA is actually a young person. We have to do something about that. And that is what we as the World Business Organization are committed to do. We are committed to mobilizing the next generation, be they entrepreneurs, be they citizens. What we want to do is help them build a meaningful livelihood. You mentioned before, Alberto, what we're doing with our ICC Centers of Entrepreneurship. We have been working to create these institutions across the world. We started actually in MENA, and we've been working on launching centers of entrepreneurship in different regions to foster entrepreneurship and to promote sustainable development. The first regional center we created was launched in Istanbul in early 2020, followed by a center in Beirut for the Pan-Arab world, which we launched in October 2020 in concert with United Nations Economic and Social Committee for West Asia. And we're delighted to work with ESCWA for that. In Beirut, we have already held a series of community workshops to map out the main issues in the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the region. And we are now looking to launch 9 different hubs around the world by the end of 2021 in countries as diverse as Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, Kenya, Morocco, and Indonesia. And in April, we will be establishing our presence in Africa by launching 2 hubs. The first in Accra in Ghana and the second in Lagos in Nigeria. These ICC Centers of Entrepreneurship will very much reflect our mission to make business work for everyone, every day, everywhere, by empowering individuals to become business owners and entrepreneurs. The centers will focus on tackling 4 tracks: inspiring future entrepreneurs, digitizing startups, scaling up startups, and fostering inclusive entrepreneurship. It is evident that startups and scale-ups are not only large contributors to the global economy, but they will also be the future of business. The Centers of Entrepreneurship will work to enhance local international startup ecosystems in the regions where they operate. We will provide entrepreneurs with specialized training, mentoring, and support services developed to help them establish, fund, manage, and expand their startups. Our activities will encompass services that enable the open innovation drive of businesses to be more efficient and integrated at the global level. The ICC Centres of Entrepreneurship will connect local entrepreneurs to global markets, as well as providing expertise to early-stage startups and raising awareness of potential opportunities for startups around the world. And Mind the Bridge, therefore, is a key partner with us to fulfill this mission. Let's chat a little bit about the Corporate Startup Awards that we saw a video of just before. So taking place under the European Commission Startup Europe Partnership Initiative since 2016, these awards aim to recognise the most active corporates in open innovation. The 2020 edition celebrated the collaborations between corporates and startups across all regions of the world and enabled established companies to innovate and for startups to actually scale. The awards ranking covers a wide range of activities from startup accelerators to procurement, investment and acquisitions. Companies ahead of the curve are recognised as corporate startup stars and open innovation challengers, gaining international recognition as trailblazers and role model setters. Some of the winners of the 2020 edition were Mastercard, Bosch Group and BP. However, in 2020, we've seen the rise of a global pandemic that has forced us to adapt and change the way we do business. For the 2021 edition, it is thus crucial, more than ever, to look at ways corporations have supported innovation and entrepreneurship. Sustainable recovery can only be achieved through cooperation among stakeholders. The pandemic has highlighted some of the challenges for the region. Some of the consequences are likely to be deep and long-lasting, but the response to the COVID-19 crisis can be used to address some of the structural weaknesses in the region. Innovation is the future. Entrepreneurialism is what we support to get us there. Thank you for including us, and thank you for allowing us to partner with you guys. Looking forward to the rest of the program.
Thank you, John, so much for your support. I think the partnership between ICC and Mind the Bridge is becoming, the more we work together, stronger and more comprehensive. That's why we decided we started with the Corporate Startup Stars. Then we decided to start working together on this beautiful and fully potential concept of Center of Entrepreneurship. And also we decided also to share the Scaleup Summit platform as a way of working together in the different regions of the world. And I think that the news of today is that we are ready to open officially the 2021 award for Corporate Startup Stars. And so application for the 2021 award edition for Corporate Startup Stars are open. So we are looking forward to receiving even more application than last year from every corner of the world. Because again, yes, Silicon Valley is a big factory of innovation, but we believe that innovation might be produced and stimulated from all over the world. That's why I believe that large multinational should have a comprehensive approach and a global footprint. And I think the best way to present what is a typical anatomy of a corporate startup stars is to call on stage the 2020 corporate startup star winner, that is Mastercard. And I have the great pleasure to have with me today Neale, that is the Senior Vice President, Mastercard. Hi, Amy. You are on mute. Is the new black? Oh, perfect.
Apologies. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Amy. So thank you for being with us today. And again, congratulations for making it last year. There was a very, very tough and fierce competition. But I think Mastercard, as mentioned, proved to have the typical characteristic of large corporates open to innovation that are substantially a comprehensive approach to innovation, meaning mixing a different kind of initiative and a global footprint. So looking at the innovation not just in the region where they are, but also at a global level. And I think has been what the judging committee recognized last year in Mastercard, and that's why we put you on the top of our constellation of corporate startup stars. So Amy, I would like to exploit your presence here to get a quick glimpse in terms of what Mastercard is doing, your approach to innovation, your plans.
Very happy to share, Alberto.
So again, can you just, we use typically this framework to show the multiple ways that a corporates can address to deal with innovation and to deal with the startup ecosystem. Can you quickly deep dive on the different ways Mastercard works with startups at a corporate level?
Certainly. So Mastercard has a long-standing commitment to entrepreneurship, to innovation, to the ways in which we as a corporate with a global footprint can work with emerging players to create innovation together. And we have put in place a number of initiatives to progress this. For us, this is about startups. It's about small and medium-sized businesses more broadly. It's about innovators, developers, the entire community that are creating what's next for our industry, for our ecosystem. We have worked in a very dedicated way for the past 10 years with a number of initiatives. And as it relates to the Corporate Startup Stars Award, one of the key instruments that we have put in place is a program that we call Start Path. So this has been a dedicated program for startup companies right across the globe, wherever they are located, to be able to engage with Mastercard. I think, I find it really interesting the way that Mind the Bridge has conceived of the concept of corporate startup stars and the journey that corporates need to go on in terms of that startup engagement, because I think that we have definitely been along that journey. And learned from the engagements that we've had with the community over that time. Initially, I think when we started out, a lot of what we were doing was engaging with startups to understand their priorities, their goals, and how we could serve them and support them. And by learning from that practice over multiple years, we've got to a position now where our key approach is to define the win-win together from the outset. So if we can support a startup to succeed, how can we as Mastercard also succeed in that frame as well?
That's great. I think you mentioned the word journey twice, and I think it's the reality that the open innovation is not something that you have a framework, a black box you adopt, run and play and go. This doesn't work. It's a journey. It's a mutual learning. It's a learning also how to work with startups, how to help them and help yourself, because it should not be a non-profit initiative. It should be something you have to produce value, and the value is innovation for your corporate, but also you need help the startup you work with to progress, because it's the best insurance for your own success. And I think that looking at StartPath, that started as a traditional accelerator programs, and now probably can even longer to be defined as an accelerator using the traditional old-fashioned model. I think you went virtual before of COVID. You went global since the early days. You have changed also the way you deal with the startup. You no longer take equity. You have evolved the format in a way that better fit the needs of the startups, so you can onboard the best startups from all over the world and help them to help yourself in a way that they like and benefit. This is the way might take looking at StartPath. That is now, I think, is a reference, and is a reference for what corporate accelerator should be. And probably, I don't know if we need to define a new model for defining startups, but I think it's something that has been successful, and the success of startups are probably will be one of the criteria that you put on top last year. And looking forward to receiving your application also for 2021, because still you are one of the favorite for becoming the corporate startup star 2021.
Thank you for that, Alberto. I know that we are an esteemed company alongside the other corporates that are working really hard in this space. I think you're absolutely right. It is a journey, and it is a lesson learning path to understand what can work for your organization, but also what can work for the startups that you seek to support. What are the best measures that you can put in place that support everybody in the ecosystem?
Cool. Thank you so much for being with us today. Again, congratulations for the last year award, and all the best for this year, not just beyond the corporate startup stars, for the day-by-day work and activity you're putting together for stimulate innovation across the globe. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much, Alberto.
So we are done with the official kickoff of Corporate Startup Stars. On our recommendation to all the corporates from all over the world to apply. You can apply online, you can apply offline, go to our website and look how it goes. It's quite a quick process, but just applying is also a pretty interesting exercise also to understand where are you positioned on this journey. And by the way, to all the corporates that typically apply, the organizers, our Mind the Bridge ICC, will get back to them with a dedicated assessment report. We'll tell you not just if you are a winner or not, but also we give you a dedicated personal assessment in terms of where you're positioned on your open innovation journey. And now it's time to move to the next item in our pretty packed agenda for today. As you know, anytime that we move to a region, we try to understand how innovation is structured and how innovation is evolving in the region. And we typically work on a report that we call it a Tech Scaleup report. And then you can see this is the cover of our brand new Tech Scaleup report that is still in the making. And that will be focused on MENA. MENA region is the Arab region. It is involving 19 countries, moving from Dubai, the Gulf countries, up to Morocco, passing through the Middle East. And for this region, beyond the support of ICC and the Center of Entrepreneurship, we have, and we are super proud to have the support and the contribution of United Nations, ESCWA. And I'm very happy to have with me today Kareem Hassan, that is the Executive Director of ESCWA Technology Center of Development. Hiya, Kareem.
Hello, Alberto. Thank you very much for the introduction, and many thanks for organizing this interesting event. And yeah, I'd like actually to welcome everyone, and hello from wherever you are or from wherever you are attending this event, either online or maybe you will follow it up afterward. It's my pleasure to joining you today at this digital MENA Scaleup Summit. We have been inspired by the previous Tech Scaleup reports of Mind the Bridge and its partners. So it's time now to launch the Tech Scaleup MENA 2021 report. This will be on the 8th of April, where tens of ideas and thoughts might influence the next steps of our newly established ICC ESCWA Center of Entrepreneurship. At this critical time of significant change in the Arab world due to the global COVID-19 pandemic, understanding the current ground and the desired contributions to help Arab SMEs to scale up globally bring optimism and hope for preparing and empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs in the region.
Yes, and Kareem, I think the fact that we decided together to launch it from Beirut, that again, among in the region has been probably several hit last year by many different unfortunate situations, but as all of the countries in the region, there is a gigantic potential and gigantic potential of innovation, gigantic entrepreneurial spirit, And this is what we want to emerge. And as promised, Kareem, I think we have the opportunity to, again, the full presentation of the report will be during the closing event of our Scaleup Summit report on April the 8th, digitally in Beirut, still digitally, unfortunately not in presence, but we will probably, starting next year, we'll definitely have the upgrade to a full physical event. And there will be the opportunity to discuss the outcomes of our initial outcomes of our joint research with all the stakeholders from the country of the region, to properly also to be able to, on the one hand, share with them our insights and what we see and how the region compare with the rest of the world, and on the other hand, to gather the insights, perspective, and to complement in a, say, a full version that will be ready for the summer period. And so that's the journey that we decided to start together. And I'm super proud to have the opportunity and the honor to share this journey with you guys that are in the region, and not only one of the light in terms of visibility, vision, and knowledge. Because again, looking at things from outside brings a lot of value, but we also to have a complement the external perspective with a full understanding of the Arab region that only local partners can provide. And so that's why I'm very, very happy about this opportunity, and thank you for that.
Yes, thanks a lot, Alberto, for elaborating that. Yeah, I'm also, I'd like to also elaborate the point of the goal. The main goal also of the report is to help startups to scale up, also to understand how scale-ups scaled up. And yeah, this could also help them and help SMEs to be able to access to global markets and raising awareness of the successful SMEs and their potential opportunities in the regional market and also in the international market. And it's essential also to increase the awareness and encourage growth and provide the startups with the appropriate support needed to scale up. Understanding the most proper enabling environment in the region and how to enhance this enabling environment to help SMEs to scale up. This is really crucial and important. And this report really gives and paves the road for this understanding.
Yes, and then is a complement to the work that you guys, with also our support, are doing with the Center of Entrepreneurship in the region. That is actually one of the goals, to help the best and most interesting startups to become scale-ups and to flourish internationally. Because again, if we are able to create local champions, the benefit on the ecosystem will spread. But as promised, Kareem, we can share some highlights of the main data of the research. We'll dig definitely deeper during our closing event on April the 8th in Beirut. So all of you are invited to join. But just to give you just a sense of what is the MENA region, just a couple of figures. So we're talking about 19 countries. Cumulatively, they have produced 448 scale-ups. For us, a scale-up is a startup that is able to raise at least $1 million in capital. And the overall capital raised by these 450 approximately innovative company has been 6.2 billion. That means that we have in the MENA region, 19 countries, 0.1 scale-ups every 100,000 inhabitants. And the percentage of capital invested compared to GDP of the region is slightly less than 1%. And so that's are the results for a population, as John mentioned, is of 400 million people. We're a very young population, and all over a GDP of 7.1 trillion. And then you can see here what are the top countries in the region, starting from the UAE, followed by Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, and then Kuwait. And you can see all the others in terms of scale-ups and capital raised by each. If you go to the next slides, you can see probably the most interesting outcomes of this report, that is the trend. And the trend is growing, and the trend is growing despite COVID. And so you can see we have also been able to, again, the ecosystem, the innovation ecosystems are practically non-existent up to 2015. And then starting 15, we have seen a growing number of new scale-ups new startups are able to reach the critical mass to become tech companies, growing after year over year. And then you see also the capital invested into the region has been growing. And then on April 8, we'll also see where the capital comes from, what are the typical way of investment, and also what are the typical investors that are local or that are international. And then just to give you the sense of these numbers from international perspective, if you go ahead and move to the next slides, you can see that the MENA region has a cumulative amount of scale-ups that is slightly the equivalent of a country like South Korea. South Korea is slightly larger than this. There is still the capital invested is a bit lower to compare to international benchmarks. But again, the growing trend is what makes the difference. And so we're expecting that we are able to see more and more mature, innovative companies able to become. So this gives you the sense of why the MENA regions compare. And then final slides, because we don't want to spoil too much. In terms of different countries, this is the way we benchmark them, comparing with the investing ratio and the density ratio. And you see there are certain countries that definitely are some outliers, and some other countries that still have some road to do in order to get to the point. But I believe there is a lot of potential, and we'll be very excited to have the opportunity to deep dive into this. We'll give for some of these scale-ups the opportunity to meet with international corporates. That is the best way to become larger. And also on April the 8th, we'd like to, with all of you, go deeper into this data and try to read them also, not just from outside, but also from inside, and try to understand what could be some must-needed actions to be put in place in order to have this ecosystem with a lot of potential to flourish.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I'd like to stress that this report serves as the starting point of the whole initiative also that we are willing to support by the Center of Entrepreneurship in cooperation with Mind the Bridge and all of our partners. I invite all of you to review this report once it's published on the 8th and share your visions, commitments for supporting Arab SMEs to be able to scale up. Thanks a lot for your attendance, and looking forward to meet you on the 8th of April in Beirut. Thank you.
Thank you, Kareem. Thank you. And so, 20 past noon, perfectly on time. Now is time to shed some light on what is happening in Dubai. And I'm really honored and pleased to have with me today Faisal Alawi, that is the head of accelerators and incubators of Dubai Future Foundation. Hi, Faisal.
Hi, Alberto. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's a great honor and pleasure. And again, I think it was a must-have today, since being digitally, you physically in Dubai, to get some understanding what is happening in Dubai. Again, we've been discussing last week, again, all the big plans and the phenomenal initiatives that are beyond Expo 2020. And again, one of the key players that is emerging for all the conversation we're having in the region is Dubai Future Foundation. And so I would like to get from you, first of all, an introduction of yourself and Dubai Future Foundation, and then during our conversation, I'd like to shed some lights in terms of what you're up to, what is happening in Dubai, what is happening inside the Emirates Tower, that is the cornerstone of innovation for Dubai and for the region, not just for Dubai.
Yeah, great, with pleasure. So just as a start with the introduction, my name is Faisal Alawi. I'm the head of accelerators, incubators, and Area 2071 at the Dubai Future Foundation. So just a glimpse history of Dubai Future Foundation. We were basically a seed of the great vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed when we started a couple of years back at the World Government Summit with basically a design fiction experiment of understanding, what the future could look like in different sectors, but more specifically, what does the future look like for humans? and their interactions. And from that experiment, which we believe was very successful, His Highness kind of like put the message and the vision forward to institutionalize that process. So it's not just a one-off, exhibition or an event, but rather a much structured process, institutionalized, properly laid down to understand exactly how we go about the future, how do we kind of like look for trends of the future and opportunities, and basically how to experiment with them to kind of like the vision or the strategy say, imagine, design, and execute the future. So at the Dubai Future Foundation, we have a number of initiatives and platforms to basically support that vision of making Dubai the leading city of the future. And I'm more than happy to talk about these initiatives as our conversation unfolds.
Yes, first of all, I would like probably just to give a physical perspective, and I think we have a picture of the Emirates Towers and Area 2071, and probably you want to explain why 2071. If I'm not wrong, 1971 has been the birth of the UAE, and the fact that you're looking forward 50 years from now, I think is telling that there is a long-term strategy and vision, as you mentioned. Can you give us some understanding of what is happening in the Emirates Tower in Area 2071?
Sure, and I think that picture will speak a lot of comments, which I will highlight as well. So, like you rightfully said, 2071 is basically the year that the UAE completes its centennial, 100 years from inception, and that basically just tells us how far along our vision of our leadership goes. We want to be the best nation in the world by that year, and in order to get that, we need to really understand, how to look into the future, how to analyze it, how to really, spin out initiatives and platforms and kind of like achieve things with impact as we move forward. Now, the only thing that's missing in the picture that you showed is basically our museum of the future, which basically is right in the place of where the blue lagoon or small pool is. And that's basically the iconic museum of the future, which basically showcases, a lot of different things: the vision, the impact, the far-fetched, purpose and desire to really design and imagine the future. And the Emirates Towers as well is also at the heart of what we call the Dubai Future District. So if you see the picture and the kind of like the gate tower just to the right of the towers and also to the left of the towers, that's all what we call the Dubai Future District. And it's basically the district of the future, innovation, startups, and talent. Area 2071 specifically is basically the hub and the cornerstone and the seed for the innovation and tech ecosystem in Dubai. We collaborate with our partners in the Dubai International Financial Center, where they're like the financial services hub, and the Dubai World Trade Center on the left of the towers to kind of like be the hub of tourism and future events and so on. So a lot of things are happening in that district. A lot of things are happening in the towers. We have different government entities who are always looking, for different initiatives to support and kind of like create a solid backbone of where Dubai can lead into the future.
No, I think two things really struck my attention when I was hearing from what you guys are doing. First of all, is that you were really able to materialize the concept of under the same roof, because under the same roof there is the entire ecosystem of innovation of Dubai, at least and then there are also all the government, and the fact that the government is co-located with Area 2071 it's concretely opened the doors to startup and innovators to the government. And the second part that I'd like probably to give us a better understanding, because I think it was phenomenal, the fact that in the Dubai government there is a Minister of Possibilities, I think is another sign that tells how you are really looking forward, and you are really you are open to listen, you are open to innovate from, and to listen to any potential opportunity might come from the ecosystem. So can you elaborate a bit more? Because I think this is, from outside, is difficult to be perceived. We love to be there to physically touch and feel, but since we cannot, I think you can convey this through your words.
Definitely. I think you touched on a very important aspect that we really highly kind of like way, which is under the same roof. And that basically is about collaboration. At the heart of Area 2071, the concepts of co-design and co-creation, which is collaborative design and collaborative co-creation, is really the essence of everything that we do. Area 2071 is not only for government entities. So if you actually come to Area 2071 through the boulevard or the towers, there are a number of different entities coming from the private sector. You have youth centers who attract talent. You have private sector entities, the likes of Emirates Airlines or Pfizer or the likes as well, ENY and the other partners of the ecosystem. But you also have the leading government entities in different sectors as well in the towers. So the idea was bring everybody together. The collaborative power of minds of creating the future, imagining the future, experimenting with the future. This is really what Area 2071 is basically the vision of Area 2071, and this is where we want to kind of like even elaborate more and bring more partners to work together. So we don't only look at government, we look at different sectors. So academia, government, private sector, business and industry, investors, talent. So all of them come under the same roof in a co-located environment as well, to kind of like exchange these ideas and thoughts and collaborate to working on these projects and proof of concepts and pilots and so on, just to make sure that everybody understands what the future entails, but at the same time push the boundaries and explore different opportunities. Which brings me to the point that you mentioned about the Ministry of Possibilities, which is also co-located in Area 2071. So they are also at the same vicinity, and the objective there is basically to challenge kind of like, the myths of government, like, for example, I'll shed light on one of the projects. So procurement itself, when it comes to government, the process of procurement could be a bit, long, tedious, kind of like inefficient at some cases. So the challenge there was, why can't we do procurement not in one day, in 6 minutes? So that's kind of like the vision that one of the projects which goes under the Ministry of Possibilities kind of like embark on. And that basically signifies the kind of, ambitious targets that we set in Area 2071, inspired by our visions of leadership.
Now, again, 6 minutes is, again, I was ready to 60 days again, but 6 minutes probably is way too much. But I think it's the same approach that we will hear from, for example, Aviation X. The concept that looking for moonshots rather than looking for incremental, small improvements, I think probably is one of the characteristics of multiple initiatives that are currently happening in the Dubai ecosystem. Again, the ability to look really forward with a vision and looking to making substantial progress. As mentioned, moonshots. Again, if you are striking for the moon, the worst case that might happen is to catch a star. While if you look close by home, probably there is, yes, you can do, probably achieve something, but this something will not really make a dent in the history and in everybody's life. And so that's, I think, is the common denominator that I'm seeing happening over there. And maybe you can share some of the initiatives as Dubai Future Foundation you are running. They're pretty ample and widespread.
Yeah, so I think just a comment on the point that you raised, you're absolutely right. I mean, if we set, kind of like moonshots to go after, it's a lot of the times it's not really about the project implementation. It's also about inspiring people behind these projects, capacity building these people, having that sort of connection to these projects that people can be ambitious, people can think outside the box and can really think big and kind of like strive towards that. And we place a great importance on, the power of mind, the importance of, human passion and putting these passions and dedication to these projects, because we believe that plays a major role in achieving impact. Now, to your second question, when it comes to the initiatives that we run at the foundation, we actually have a couple of them. Each one is positioned differently, positioned in a different for different target audiences, for different horizon of innovation and so on. So I'd like to touch base on a couple. One of them is the flagship Dubai Future Accelerators. So that's basically our attempt of basically bridging the gap between government and private sector and startups. Today, I mean, when we first created it, the concept of working with startups might not have been the norm in government. Working closely with startups of their speed, with their intention. A lot of the times, even globally, it's the way conglomerates or governments or large corporations see startup as a threat. But we thought like this is an opportunity. It's not just about being disruptive, but it's also being collaborative and working together in solving these problems. So that's why the Dubai Future Accelerator aims to kind of like bridge the gap. We work with government partners to understand their challenges, and then we source and look for startups that are best suited to work closely with them. We sponsor their visit to Dubai for a period of 9 to 12 weeks, completely equity-free, to work closely with the government to achieve, a certain objective, whether it's a pilot, whether it's a proof of concept, or whether it's a project as well. So that kind of like creates a win-win situation. For government, they have direct access to innovation. For startups, they get an immense financial kind of like, pipeline of commercial projects working with government, so the anchor becomes even heavy. And for us at the Dubai Future Foundation, it kind of like flourishes the ecosystem, because you attract a lot of talent, you attract a lot of startups, but at the same time create these kind of dynamics between them. Another platform that we also oversee is the Regulations Lab. And the challenge there was, because we understand how technology requires a very flexible structure or framework of regulations, and it takes a lot of time to kind of like actually get to a point where you're changing regulation, we kind of wanted to create a sandbox environment or an experimentation process for these technologies to go through in actual setups, in actual production setups, to kind of understand what are the changes required in regulations so that they can be implemented. So rather than it just being purely focused on, let's bring the regulation, analyze it, and understand, kind of like whiteboard strategizing. No, let's actually bring the technology, have it working on ground, see how it's going, get that feedback and insight, and then recommend, the kind of directions forward for the regulations. We also combine that with not only the focus of regulations, but also creating markets around these technologies. So for example, when you're creating autonomous drones for last mile delivery, for example, and so on, who are basically all the players in the supply chain? Who are the manufacturers of drones? Who are the consumers? Who are the clients? Who are the end users of drones? So bringing all of that together, understanding how the dynamics works in a real environment, helps us set up, that regulation properly. And the third one, which is what you mentioned about moonshots, which is what we have the platform, which is called Dubai 10X. And that basically aims to kind of disrupt all the existing business and operating models of government itself. Understanding how can we completely reimagine how we operate and how we work. So that platform is set up specifically for disruptive innovation or transformational projects. It takes around 2 to 3 years for implementation and exploration and so on. So these are like some of the platforms that we run. We also have platforms around research, platforms around capacity building, platforms around content creation. And that way we believe that we create kind of like a holistic 360 approach of looking at the future.
No, that's amazing, because sometime what really we, at least in Silicon Valley, the real differentiator has been the mentality. Mm-hmm. And the mentality to really want to do something that has an impact, that is long term, and that is big. Because again, the cost of dreaming big dreams or small dreams is almost the same, the fixed cost. This is one of the way that and Sergey were used to say at the early days of Google. And at the end is the fact that there is such a mentality, and this mentality is embedded in a structure that make it possible experimentation. And there is also the willingness to experiment, and to try. And again, the fact that you are identifying challenging goals, something that might really make the difference, I think is the most important characteristic. To end our conversation, I would like to get your take on the startups and scale-up ecosystem in Dubai. How do you see it? How do you see Dubai as probably onboarding hub for the entire region and not just the region? How do you see that?
I mean, this is one of the key areas that we look at, of course, at the Dubai Future Foundation, the startup ecosystem and entrepreneurs and talent in general. I think, the recent reports with the pandemic going around and so on, the one thing that we noticed is that while it took like an initial slowdown, the investment still came back and kind of like, the steady flow still existed, if not even more. By percentage-wise, Dubai still kept, the number one city in the region with investments per capita or investments per startup, even during the pandemic. And we are constantly working towards initiatives and so on to basically attract talent, retain talent, and kind of like enable the startup to have the most frictionless environment and experience to come to Dubai, incorporate in Dubai, set up legally, and kind of like have, the business environment that allows them to flourish. And with that in mind, we have, it's not just about the Dubai Future Foundation, but the entire Dubai structure is based on that. So if there are free zones that are focused more on the creative industry, free zones that are focused more on the financial sector, free zones that are focused more on the logistics sectors, and so on and so forth. So the idea is to kind of like create these kind of environments that could attract different target audience to come to Dubai. And then, of course, we understand that there will always be challenges. And this is where we have to identify them. We have to work closely with these startups to understand, how to even further improve the ecosystem, how to further eliminate bottlenecks and frictions and so on. And this is basically what we are constantly doing at Area 2071 and Dubai Future Foundation.
So, Faisal, thank you so much for sharing the experience of Dubai Future Foundation. Looking forward for next year to be physically in Dubai to bring our corporate guests to really visit it and to meet in person. But by now, thank you for this, and looking forward to monitoring your progress in the incoming months. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, Alberto. Thank you.
Perfect. So, final part of our opening of our Scaleup Summit is to introducing the corporate partners that are joining our digital journey into the region. We will present a subset of them, and I would like to give the floor to my colleague Marwan Abdullaoui, that is our head of innovation advisory and scouting. I'm Marwan.
Hi, Alberto. Hi, everyone. Very pleased to be here with you. I'm Marwan Abdullaoui. If you don't know how to pronounce my first name or last name, don't worry, I won't get offended. Actually, I'm based in Barcelona, and very, again, pleased here to present the corporate partners. So we have 6 of them today, our premium partners, for whom actually we do scouting. We do provide scouting, startup scouting services, and we look for the best startups and scale-ups for them, and we try to find a solution that are solving their problems. So as a further ado, I would like to ask Silvia Fierro from ENI to join me here in the floor, and I will let her present ENI, her industry, the startup they're looking for, and other information that I want to share here with us.
Sure.
Hi, Silvia.
Hi, Marwan. Thank you. Thank you very much. And good morning, everyone. So really pleased today to introduce ENI, as Marwan was saying, and what we do as an open innovation unit. So for those of you who are not familiar, let's say, with ENI, these slides would give you an overview of what ENI does in a nutshell. So ENI is an energy company covering all the value chain, from the exploration all the way through logistic production of chemicals. We operate in 66 countries with more than 32,000 employees. And on the next slides, I just in a very quick picture, I would show you how we've been recently structured. It was last June. So 2 main units have been created. The natural resources aimed at develop the upstream oil and gas portfolio sustainability and promoting energy efficiency and carbon capture. And on the other side, the energy evolution, dedicated to supporting the evolution of the company's power generation, fostering the transition from fossil to bio, blue, and green. The unit which we belong to and that operates as support to the other two is the new digital and R&D, where sit all the innovation and development of new technologies and their fast implementation on an industrial scale. My colleagues and I, we belong to a new unit that both understands and translates needs from the business unit and look and scout for solutions to be implemented or suggested internally. So linked to ENI's strategic goals, we will see what we follow. So we follow 4 objectives on the next slides. Super, thank you. When looking for new solutions. So we look for excel in asset integrity. We look for boost our company efficiency, enable the decarbonization strategy, and enhance the stakeholder centricity. With the help of our network and our partners, of course, we scout in multiple geographies. And following the technical areas reported here, we scout for new solutions, mainly scale-ups, so solutions that are actually ready to be plugged in and deployed in our environments. So the next slides clarifies what guides our innovation quest for this year, our topics of interest in general. So we have identified 5 areas where we think solutions that are scouted from the innovative ecosystems might help us. So we have, and we had also in the previous years, safety. So it's central in our strategy, not only open innovation, but in general in the ENI strategy. So safety of our employees. Then we have asset integrity and performance enhancements in our plants mainly. New energy. So we are looking for new tools that can enhance the transition to a sustainable future, sustainable development. Then, of course, sustainability, the 4th one. Of course, sustainability of our production. So how we can be more sustainable, even though we will, of course, go to a more sustainable production of our normal activities. And then the last one is the customer centricity, mainly, I would say, related to the world of our retail stations that are all over, mainly Italy, but also Europe. For this summit, we put our magnifying lens, that would be on the next slide, on asset integrity and new energy specifically, which actually will be our main focus for the entire year. So this topic, new energy, we will really go through and scout for solutions in all the regions that we will have under our radars, and we will start with MENA. On the next slides, in a nutshell and in a quick image, this is how we work and how we scout, and we look through the stages of the discussion we go through with potential new solution. It's not 6 minutes, as we said before with the speaker that had the floor before. It's a longer process where we normally go through each of these stages. This is on the next slides. This is mostly for the startups and the scale-ups we will meet during the next days. This is the first step. So the one-to-ones that you will have and you will have with my colleagues is the first step. And you will directly speaking with my colleagues that are the representatives actually for each areas of innovation and reply to these questions and of course many more questions that will arise during, I hope, fruitful conversations. So that's ENI and what we do, and I hope to speak to you in the future, and thank you very much for your attention, and thank you, Myron.
Great, thank you very much, Celia. Very clear process. I want to call up next Philip Scarth, Head General Manager at CNH. Hi, Philip.
You hear me? Everybody.
All right, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'd like to give you an overview of FPT and CNH Industrial, if I may. Next slide. CNH Industrial is a leading global capital goods company, and we're engaged on design, production, marketing of agricultural, construction equipment, trucks, and commercial vehicles. There is 5 sectors within CNH Industrial and agricultural under Case and Steyr and New Holland, construction equipment under New Holland and Case, commercial vehicles with brands of Iveco and Iveco Bus, and powertrains under FPT, where I am working. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No. One back. Sorry. As I mentioned before, 12 brands altogether with about 65,000 employees across CNH Industrial, with about $1 billion R&D spend per year. We are physically in 180 different countries around the world with about 56 R&D centers. Next slide. Now a bit more focus on FPT. FPT is the powertrain sector of CNH Industrial. We produced 2019. We don't have the final numbers for 2020 yet. 2019, we produced around 600,000 engines and about 250,000 axles and transmissions, with a revenue of just over $4 billion. And about 55% of our production volume goes to non-captive customers. The other 45% go to the CNHI captive customers, which I showed you on the previous slides. Next slide, please. FPT Industrial has a long history of innovation. We were involved very early on in the industrial diesel engine work. Early in the last century, we were working early on turbochargers, on truck manufacturing. Then we were early starters in direct injection of light commercial vehicles or diesel engines. Then in the 90s, we worked very detailed on the common rail injection system concepts. We were the first to go into production on light commercial vehicles, and then later on tractors. Later on, we were leading in a SCR, so selective catalytic reduction concept. In 2005, we went to market with an SCR-only strategy without any internal exhaust gas recirculation. We then used that leverage further on at the further levels of emission controls, looking at high efficiency of SCR. And also, in the same time, we worked on bringing out natural gas, CNG, LNG concepts to the market. In 2018, we showed a concept of our future development called Cursor X, which was a modular concept based on how FPT visions the future of the powertrain development as we're moving forward. Around about the same time, we also grounded the e-powertrain department within FPT, and then we've made some strategic acquisitions in Dolphin N2 in the UK, and also Potenza for battery management system software and battery technologies. And again, we're also with Iveco. Together with Iveco, we invested in Nikola for battery electric heavy commercial vehicles, and also fuel cell electric vehicles. Next slide, please. That's where it was from an R&D footprint, where we are around the world. As you can see, we have a footprint of R&D centers around the world, and the major centers in North and South America, in India, China, and South Korea. R&D, primarily innovative R&D, takes place within Europe, principally in Italy, in Foggia in Turin, and also here in Switzerland, in Arbon, where I work, where we're looking at mainly innovation activities on powertrains. But as I said before, we have presence in the UK in Coventry. We're looking at the battery management system, electric hybrid systems, and also in Dolphin near Brighton, looking at disruptive technology on internal combustion engines. Next slide, please. Basic strategy for FPT for the future powertrains is threefold, three pillars. Clean diesel, which means we're advancing the technology for diesel. We still see diesel as being an important player on the market for the next 10 years. We clearly leveraging all our technology, looking at NOx reduction, actually more than 98%, above 99.5% NOx reduction in the catalytic conversion, CO2 reductions, including increasing the efficiency of the diesel engine up to around about 50% brake thermal efficiency. Then, of course, we are strengthening our position on natural gas, looking at increasing the efficiencies of the engines up to about 45% brake thermal efficiencies, reductions of CO2, looking at biomethane as a carbon neutral solution, and we're also looking at alternative fuels, hydrogen, of course, DME, potentially for looking at carbon neutral fuels within a combustion engine framework. In the electrification, we are looking at we have a dedicated electrified powertrain structure, looking at hybridization, obviously, e-axles on our diesel engine platform, trying to make it as scalable as possible. Full electric vehicles, as I mentioned before, together with Nicola, and also with Iveco. Hydrogen fuel cell, we are investing in hydrogen fuel cell capabilities. And of course, modular battery pack systems together with inverters and e-motors as well. Next slide. Just a flash on some of our activities. We've joint ventures together with Potenza and Microvast, trying to get, let's say, a step forward, an accelerated step forward. Last slide. Not to forget game-changing technology we're looking at together with Dolphin in the UK, to looking at significantly increased efficiencies on internal combustion engines. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a nice meeting.
Thank you very much, Philip. Great to hear about your innovation initiatives. And now I would like to ask Achea and Antonio Scarnera to join me into the floor. We're moving a bit more into water and energy. Antonio, welcome.
Hello, thank you. We can directly go to the next slide. I'm Antonio Scarnera, working in innovation department, precisely in innovative scouting solution. Achea is a big multi-utility in Italy, and we operate in 4 different areas: water, energy, infrastructure, energy, commercial and trading, and environment. Achea is listed in stock exchange since the 1999, and in 2019 the revenues was of 3.80 billions. With 1.04 billion of EBITDA. We are like in 9,000, and we are the leading operator in water services distribution, where we serve 9 million inhabitants in the mid of Italy. Another sector is the energy infrastructure, where we are one of the main energy distribution operator in Italy, and we distribute 10 billion of kilowatt of electricity. Also, we are one of the main operators on the energy sector for where we sell energy, and we sold 6.5 billion of kilowatt. and we are the primary operator in the waste management. That is different. In waste management, we treat the waste, where we treat 1.2 million of ton of waste. Also, we operate overseas in water services, precisely in South America. Next slide, please. What we are looking for? We are looking for solution in each of these sector where we operate. Mainly in the water sector, of course, we are looking for a solution that can reduce leaks and can increase the preservation of the water, and solution that can do water analysis, and a solution that can upgrade our network, because we want to be a smart water company and improve the sustainability usage of the water, improving the service with quality and efficiency. In the sector of energy infrastructure, we want to do the energy transition, improving the decarbonization of the system. So we are looking for a solution that is driving electrification, that can increase the network resilience, and of course, solution can enable smart grid to enable new services, and solution can create energy by green energy. In energy, in commercial and trading department, we want to grow to the retail portfolio, improving the quality and the exploitation of the energy transition opportunity. So we want to improve the customer journey of the client with the new services, new ways to contact the clients. We want to improve the digital channels that we already have, and create new smart services and increase the e-mobility service that we are launching right now. In environment sector, the last one, we want to accelerate the plant development aimed at the recovery materials to improve the circular economy perspective. So boost the circular economy, optimize the waste treatment performance in the organic fraction, and self-sufficiency in sludge treatment. So this is what Shea is looking for each sector. I think is I do a really short presentation, but I think we can do more infos in the maybe one-to-one. Thank you.
Great. No, you did great, Antonio. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite into the floor Terna and Stefania Ratti, Head of Innovation, Governance and Strategic Marketing.
Hello, Maran, and nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you as well.
It's a pleasure to be today here at the Scaleup Summit. I'm Head of Innovation Governance at Terna, the Italian transmission system operator. I would like to start off just by showing you actually who Terna is, and there's a short video that will give you an idea of who we are. So Terna is the first grid operator in Europe. We have more than 70,000 kilometers of lines operated, and we have a big responsibility because we manage electricity flows 365 days a year. We are listed on the stock exchange and we employ more than 4,600 professionals. Our mission is to promote the energy transition, and we do this with a great attention to sustainability and, of course, also to innovation. Going ahead, our 2021-2025 industrial plan, Driving Energy, reinforces the central role of Terna as director of the energy transition by boosting investments. We have, in fact, planned 8.9 billion euro of investments between 2021 and 2025. This is the highest plan that Terna presents. And this really reinforces our central role as director of the energy transition. We will do this by paying great attention to sustainability to support our stakeholders and our local communities. And of course, innovation and digitization will play a central role in this plan. Going ahead, we can actually see that out of 8.9 billion euro, actually more than 900 million will be planned and committed to innovation and digitization in the specific. So our intention is to optimize asset utilization, roll out remote control systems, install sensors. Well, overall, our objective is to ensure system security and efficiency. Let's see in detail what we plan in the specific on innovation. So what we are looking for and how we intend to do it. We have identified 4 technology clusters of interest for us, starting from robotics, for example, robots for inspection and maintenance of lines and substations, going into digital. As I was mentioning before, IoT is of great importance for us. And moving into advanced materials, for example, we are looking for nanotech materials which can help us to avoid the problem of icing on our overhead lines. And last but not least, the energy tech sector. We are certainly interested in storage, mobility, and vehicle to grid. How are we going to approach this challenge? Within the organization, we certainly want to be inclusive and have a distributed approach to all our colleagues all over Italy, and some are also abroad. And we want to be concrete. We mean that we want to actually implement solutions that have a positive impact on the business, and of course, open to collaboration with corporates and startups. And that's why we are here today. And the main needs that we have are in 3 fields. The first field is HR tech, in order to find new solutions for our new ways of working. The second need is in the field of cybersecurity, which is more and more important. And our final need is in the field of system operations, again, with a specific focus on e-mobility and vehicle to grid. Thank you, and we look forward to the opportunities that the startup and the scale-ups will present to us.
Thank you very much, Stefania. It was very clear and on point. Now is next Acciona and Javier Gonzalo Baez. Hola.
Hello. Hi, Marwan.
Javier. Hope everything is good in Madrid.
Everything is good, thank you. Very happy to be here. I'm very happy to introduce Acciona. So on the next slide, let me introduce Acciona. Acciona is a global provider of sustainable solutions in renewable energy, infrastructure, water, and services. With more than 10,000 megawatts deployed all over the world, we are the biggest utility working exclusively in renewable energy projects. So in construction, we develop transport infrastructures that connect people. In water, we design, build, and operate desalination plants and water treatment plants. In services, we develop solutions for cities, improving the life of citizens. And Acciona is present in 65 countries with almost 40,000 employees, with a strong commitment to innovation and sustainability. is what we call business as unusual. On the next slide, business as unusual based in two pillars. The first one, sustainability, because more than 70% of the SDG targets are considered to be linked to the development of enabling infrastructure, so it's part of our core business. And Acciona is a carbon neutral company since 2016 and considered the greenest utility of the world. Related to innovation, 3 R&D centers, one for energy, working in applications of new technologies that will change the industry, like largest scale storage and hydrogen. One for construction, working on processes and new materials, and one for water, more focused on chemical processes to be applied on desalination and water treatment plants. And also a corporate innovation to support their activities and generate transversal opportunities. On the next slide, we can see that we need to run faster than ever. This is the reason why we create iNovation. iNovation is a platform that reflects the way we want to innovate. We are taking advantage of new technologies and new business models from startups, but also trying to leverage the knowledge and the know-how of our R&D centers and innovation teams. At the end, we want to generate new revenues and new business models. On the next slide, we can see the results, but it's not about the number of projects launched or startup involved. It's about people. Almost 300 people have been working in our collaboration program with the startups. And the most important KPI, the number of agreements signed directly with the business. How to do that? On the next slide, I can show you some of the ingredients. Challenges identified in our business units with a commitment of decision makers from the very beginning, and a framework to support the collaboration between startups and those business units. And other critical part for us is co-creation. I mean that co-creation is the key. We build unique teams to run the entire project using agile methodology, testing and validating the solutions in a real environment. And finally, clear next steps. As an output, for instance, the startups can continue the pilot project directly with the business unit, or you can be a new supplier of Acciona, and why not? Let's explore a new opportunity together as a partner. And this is the approach on the next slide. Innovation, more open, more disruptive, more digital, trying to find opportunities on synergies across the organization to transform our businesses. But we consider that it's a powerful tool also to transform other industries. We are not entering the mobility sector, for instance. We are transforming the mobility sector through the use of renewable energy. And also we are partnering with mining companies in Chile to find solutions with the startups to make more sustainable the processes of our clients. At the end, there are a lot of opportunities to collaborate with Acciona. On the next slide, let's say advanced delivery, technologies around logistics and last mile delivery, sustainable mining. We are looking for new solutions to transform the mining processes. In construction tech, how to improve the way we deliver the construction projects, mainly civil works. On connected assets, everything related to operation and maintenance. In the smart mobility, we are the biggest motor sharing operator in the world, so we are looking for new opportunities in this topic. And finally, energy transition, how to offer new renewable energy-based solutions to our clients. And that's all. Looking forward to collaborate with the startups in this summit.
Great. Thank you very much, Javier. Last but not least, and Unipol, Bruno, are you there? Here we go.
Hello.
Bruno.
Thank you.
Hello, Bruno. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So, skip to the next slide. Just to give you some numbers on Unipol. Unipol is one of the largest insurers here in Italy. We are leader in non-life business, and particularly in motor, where we have 10 million customers and more than 4 million customers with black boxes. I think we are a leader in the world in this sense. And we have overall 16 million of insurance customers. We have Unisalute that is focused on health insurance, and we have more or less 6 million customers. So this just to give you a context where Unipol is in terms of Italian market. So we are a largest insurer. And we have also one of the largest agency network in Italy. So because we have more or less 8,000 point of sales around Italy. So we have some core. And if we go to the next slide, how is our approach? So our approach is to focus on three main ecosystems. So in mobility, that is one of the first where we started, where we bought Car Server, that is a long-term car rental companies, and recently we bought also Cambio Marcia, that is a company that sell through an online website used cars. So in this ecosystem we were advanced compared to home and properties. In home and properties we are working on different areas. So in particular, in terms of property, we want to create a home repair networks and a building manager network. And also we are looking to develop an online home brokerage platform, and also focusing on security service and utilities. In terms of welfare, so ecosystem, we have a physical network of medical center that we want to develop through all the Italian cities, and we want also to create a digital health platform, and that's one of the reasons why we are looking also to start up in this area. And we have also developed a flexible benefit platform. So if you can follow the next slide. So our approach to innovation is clearly using the network that we have through our activities, and also through the support of MindTheBridge. And we use this network to find startups and companies that could accelerate our growth in what we call the beyond insurance. So what is different from insurance? And the collaboration could be through an acquisition, as we did, for example, with Cambio Marcia and Car Server, or it could be also a partnership, as we did, for example, in welfare, using the services of a Polak company that is called Infermetica for developing a symptom checker that was used by our customer. So it's an approach that we try to use an agile approach, but also this approach sometimes is also difficult because we are a big company, and for that reason we use startups that could help in a challenging environment that need to have a digital approach and a very speed way to develop things that usually we don't have in a big group. And so that's the way how it works, and we are open to work with startups through partnership or through acquisition when there is an opportunity. That's all from my side.
Great, thank you very much, Bruno. So that was actually closing our corporate partners presentation. Let's come back to Alberto.
Thank you, Marwan, for driving this conversation. I think the next step is to make things happen. And for us, to make things happen is to putting corporates in front of startups and scale-ups in order to initiate collaboration that might be conducive to business and growth. That's our goal. That's why we will be working in the next few weeks for organizing one-to-one matching activities. And then I will invite you to follow up our Minded Chats, the conversation with the innovation leaders of the region, starting tomorrow, 11 a.m. European time, for our conversation with the CBC of Agility. That is one of the most important logistic company of the region. And then the next appointment is our closing event that will be, as mentioned, in Beirut on April the 8th, always starting at 11 a.m. By now, that's all. Thank you everybody for staying with us, and looking forward to deep diving and supporting the region to make further progress. Thank you.